Hello, good evening and welcome along to our Getting to Know You evening here at the Emmbrook School for the new Year 6 families. I always start by saying we're not professional broadcasters, but we give it a good go. So let's hopefully not embarrass ourselves this evening. My name's Nick McSweeney. Hopefully you know me. I'm the head teacher of the Emmbrook School, and I'm joined by two other colleagues who will come on in a moment and give you a little bit of information. That's Taj Bambra, my deputy head, and Craig Johnson, who is an assistant head teacher responsible for transition into Year 7. And I start by saying that the reason we do this is because we don't know who you are. There's a bit of an odd quirk in the system that back on the 1st, you got told who your secondary schools were going to be, but we don't get told for some weeks to come. But we think that that leaves a bit of a void. So what we like to do is just put on this evening as a quick way to say, look, you're coming, it's fantastic. We will see you in the summer. You will be hearing from us shortly. But for now, we do know you're out there in theory. We just don't specifically know who you are. So what we'll do tonight is I will hand over in a minute to Taj, and he will talk you through educational standards here at the school. That is his responsibility. And then Mr. Johnson will come on and he will talk us through some of the practical bits for September. But the key thing, and if you signed in and this is bad news, we're not going to go through lots and lots and lots of detail tonight because we don't want to take your whole evening over, but also you're going to be receiving so much information from us in the coming weeks and months. Today is really just about a little bit of a flavour of the Emmbrook School, and it is, as ever, an exciting time for the school. We had our Ofsted back in October and we were really pleased with the report. It highlighted what we know to be the real strength of this school, but it also confirmed what we knew we wanted to work on and improve about that school. And I can assure you that we've been working hard on that ever since. And we're very excited that you will be joining the school. This is another year where we've been at record levels of popularity. This is the 4th Year 7 in a row where we've had to expand the number of places. And so we are really excited that that is being recognised by parents, so many parents and students choosing us for the future. And we're working hard here to be in the position that you would want us to be in for September. So we're working away. One of my main focuses at the moment is on recruiting staff. We've been making really strong appointments for September. And one of the things that I really love actually is that we're recruiting people based on recommendations from people who already work here. You'll have probably heard in the press there is a national teacher recruitment crisis. It is a difficult time in teaching. So for me to have my current staff reaching out to their friends and colleagues elsewhere and saying, come and work at the Emmbrook, that's a fantastic endorsement of this school and this community. In fact, I think we've made 3 appointments already through that route. And one of them I'm really fond of because it's a new teacher joining us in science who was actually in my first form here at the school back in 2005. A fresh-faced Year 7 joining us in September. And I love the idea that he's coming back to us as a, well, from my perspective, still pretty fresh face, but I guess he must be about 30 now, so maybe not quite as fresh faced as he was back in 2005. Anyway, before I hand over to Mr. Bambra, I've got one thing to say to you. We have opened the Q&A section, so Q&A is there. If you want to put questions on, please do. Because as I said at the beginning, we're not planning for this to be a big detailed, what do we do with PE kit kind of evening, because that will come. What I will do is probably just scan through the Q&A, and just if there are some common themes that have emerged, I'll just talk to those very briefly before we say our farewells at the end. But what I will do now is hand over to Mr. Bambra, who will talk you through educational standards, what we call quality of education here at the Emmbrook.
Thank you, Mr. McSweeney. Thank you, Mr. McSweeney, and a very warm welcome. Before I move on to what I consider to be 3 of the most important features of our learning environment, I'll just outline a bit about my role and my experience and what qualifies me to take on such a responsible position of quality of education. I've been teaching for 32 years. My background is in maths and science. I have undergraduate degrees in maths education, and masters in astrophysics. I'm a practicing Ofsted inspector. I've up until recently been on a specialist Ofsted working group as well. I'm a subject specialist within Ofsted. So that's a bit about myself. I think that's quite important. Now moving on to our learning environment and what I consider to be three of the most important features. First of all, we have a very carefully sequenced and mapped curriculum from year 7 to year 11, and that includes our PSHE program as well. Secondly, and very importantly for transition, our curriculum leaders have a good understanding of the Key Stage 2 curriculum, particularly the endpoints. And this is important because we want a smooth learning transition from Key Stage 2 into Key Stage 3. We know what students have come equipped with, and so we waste no time in picking up from there. And I would say, thirdly, we have a very robust quality assurance process system in place to ensure that all pupils make progress, and vitally, if they aren't making the progress that they should be making, that appropriate steps are taken to intervene as necessary. So those are the sort of three really important features, I think, for pupils moving during the transition phase. And I'm sure we'll have more detailed conversations about the curriculum itself, and I'm sure you have many questions that you'd like to pose and ask. And I just say, well, let's hold those for now, and we could have those detailed conversations when we have our next opportunity. I can hand over to Mr. Johnson. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for being patient. Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bamborough, and hello again. I hope to many of you. Hopefully I've kind of spoken to quite a lot of you over the past couple of years, from our first meeting in year 5 for the masterclasses or the assemblies that we did through to open evening and such this year. And I can't wait to firstly find out who you are, and secondly then meet you all and get a nice smooth journey into the Emmbrook School. I'm just going to whiz through a couple of kind of the practicalities of what's going to happen over the next sort of 6 months or so. And it's at the moment, Mr. McSweeney alluded to the fact that we don't know who you are. There is what's going on at the moment is called the churn in the business. And what that means is that the lists have gone out, but they're ever changing ever so slightly with people who've moved house or people who are challenged their decisions and such, or really want to come to Emmbrook and get on the waiting list. So there's a little bit of movement on that list over the next kind of couple of weeks, and then we're going to get a lovely spreadsheet with all your details. Once we get that, that's when the real work starts beginning, and we'll send out a nice welcome letter from Mr. McSweeney with a bit more information on it. We'll start our school visits, where we'll go and meet the children in school and talk to their teachers, and we start collecting data from the schools and data from you. There's a couple of things we're going to do a little bit differently this year. One of them is that we've got quite a few students who are coming, who are the only students coming from their school. The preliminary list I got, I think there was 20, maybe 25, and those who are home educated as well. What we're looking at doing is holding what I'm calling Induction Day 0.5, which is an afternoon where all those students can come on site, get to know us a bit, get to know each other. So at least when they get to induction day, they know a few other people for that induction day, and hopefully that will ease their nerves a little bit more moving forward. We're also going to send out a welcome pack. This is every year this document gets bigger and bigger as we think of things we want to add in, and this year it was all the apps you might need, and it's an A4 piece of paper with details of all the applications and websites that we tend to use around the school. So we've got all that kind of information, that detailed information, that page on what to do if I'm poorly, what to do if I forget my kit, everything like that. And that kind of, hopefully that journey, there'll be forms to fill in. Sorry, before I say that, we're going to send out a lot of forms for you to fill in. We ask you to have a quick turnaround on these. It covers everything from just basic information on addresses and birthdays and such, but all the way through to the quite significant kind of any medical needs that we might need to be aware of, and allergies and things like that that we need to take into consideration. This works towards the induction day, which is going to be on June the 26th. I think I put a slide up at the beginning, a welcome slide, and the information's on the website. This is where all the students will come here for the day. They'll have an assembly in the morning. They'll go off to lessons. They'll do we've got a charity called Soulscape who come in, and they run some workshops and team building. And we do like a treasure hunt orienteering around the school, so they get to know the site a bit more. And we've got some older students that will help us with that. So that's a really big day, and it gives them their first kind of step through the door. That evening as well, we're going to have a parents' evening. It will be on site in person. We really like you all to come along. We'd ask that the students don't come along. We might have some kind of safeguarding bits that we might want to, tidbits that we want to give you. So we'd ask for it just to be the parents. And that kind of, as well, that takes us up to kind of almost the end of term, but we do have a summer school that we're going to run. This year it's going to be on the Thursday the 22nd of August, which is GCSE results day. It just means that, yeah, a lot of the staff are on site anyway for that, so we can stay and look after your children. And we give it's called a school. It should really be called a summer fun day. It's like an extension of the induction day, where we've got about 4 different activities that they'll do. Hopefully playing football on the 3G pitch, making something in DT, maybe a bit of music, and we've put together a package of sessions so that they can, again, just bridge that gap between the end of the summer term and September. When we get to September, the 4th of September is going to be their first day. They are the only students that are going to be on site that day. I think year 12 might be, they're in a separate part of the school with their kind of induction day. But this, in the main school, is only year 7. So it's a different kind of day for them. They're likely to get very lost, and we've got staff that will be out to direct them where they're going. We've organised for the photographer to come in, so their first day photos will be on the first day. We'll have extra uniform on hand in case there's any problems with that as well. And then the day after that, the 5th of September, it will be kind of their first, like a proper regular day, and we'll work with them. But I'll be working with their head of year to make sure that they're in the right place, that their PSHE programme that Mr. Bamber worked with, make sure they settle in. Now, a couple of things that are going to run alongside that is we've got a specific programme for any students with any SEND. Now, Miss Oliver and Mr. Baker in our special needs department, they fully aware already on a few students that are joining us, and they've got a plan with extra induction days and extra sessions that they'll run as well. And also keep an eye on the website and our Facebook page, both get updated at the same time, but we're going to be putting loads of induction videos, information, just little bits for the students to kind of keep them actively engaged as we move along. So that was quite a lot. It's on the website as well. There's a list of the key dates and what's going on. I just say at the moment, don't panic. Email us if you've got any questions at all. Your best bet is to email me direct, because I'll make sure that we answer your questions. Sometimes if it goes through the office, it gets sent all over the place, but I put my email out there. You've got Mr. McSweeney's emails available on the website as well. So please feel free to contact us direct, and we'll be able to answer any questions and hopefully have a really smooth transition. The last thing I want to leave you with is that we work in as part of the Circle Trust, and so we've got in the Circle Trust is a couple of secondary schools and quite a lot of primary and junior schools. And I was at a meeting last week, and we talked about how mobile phones are kind of in year 6 now. Around now is the rite of passage for mobile phones, perhaps, that they're going to walk in the summer term and they might get a mobile phone. If you are part of the trust, I know that there's information coming out for you about this that recommends that. For all of you, I'd start thinking about how you have those conversations with your children about how they use their phone, what apps are appropriate, check the age ratings of the applications that they're downloading. WhatsApp has a surprisingly high age rating, and so there was lots of conversations in our house when my daughter wanted to get it a couple of years ago of how we use it, what we do, how we communicate to people. I don't believe this will be the last time we talk about mobile phones, and I'm sure I'll have a big thing on the June session to talk through, but just start thinking about that and getting aware of the potential pitfalls and how to treat people appropriately on the internet. Thank you very much for your time. I hope I didn't rush that too much. And yeah, thank you to Mr. McSweeney for letting me use this cupboard for this afternoon. It's very lovely. I'm going to pass back to Mr. McSweeney now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson, and I can confirm he is sat in a cupboard. Thank you so much for joining us. When we first started doing this, because it is a frustration for us that we don't know who you are, but you know who we are. I think our sense was we possibly, looking back, overdid it a bit. I think the first one probably went on for 45 minutes to an hour. Our ambition for tonight was to slim it right down, really to just reassure you we're here. We will be in touch directly with you. Information will follow, and a huge amount of work goes into the transition. The beauty of my job is that working with really great people makes me look good at my job. The truth is I am surrounded by fantastic colleagues, and hopefully you've got that real sense of that reassurance from Mr. Bamber tonight. He is a man who knows what he's doing in terms of getting the standards right in the classroom. But Mr. Johnson has been doing transition now for many years and is an absolute expert in it. And the feedback that we get from parents that join the school is we do manage transition really, really well. So I hope that will be your experience. We will be in touch with you shortly. I'm just looking down at the screen now and I can confirm we've received no questions. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm going to decide it's a good thing. So until we're back in touch with you more formally, all I will say is thank you very much for joining us this evening. As ever, if you want to give us any feedback, we do like feedback. We really do respond to feedback, but we have successfully achieved our goal of slimming things down because we brought it in under 20 minutes, which for us was something that we wanted to achieve tonight. Okay, you know where we are. Please do reach out if you need anything. We're looking forward to meeting you in 3D at some point in the near future. Take care. Have a lovely evening.